It is Friday. It is Stash Wars Live. Mike the Sig Slayer chilling with Your Highness Tony the Signature King. What's cracking?
What's going on? Happy to be here.
And I mean, we just got in SEG's first comment, man. Already ribbing you already. Tip number one: don't wear a king outfit to a no kings rally.
Words to live by.
Words to live by. Words to live by. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Stash Wars Live. We're chilling here all night, and the topic is the comic book signature commandments. We're gonna unpack everything. We can't call ourselves Sig Slayers and not talk about the science behind the Sig. All right, and so we're gonna go through all 10 comic book signature commandments, and I gotta do it with royalty here because the Signature King, he has a majestic wisdom when it comes to the signature game. What do you have to say about this? Because I think you pitched this idea.
Yeah, I pitched the idea because I do get questions all the time. People shoot me DMs. Hey, what type of marker should I use? What tips do you have for carrying a ton of books? Just walk around the con. Like, what do you do? And believe me, I have tried almost everything humanly possible when it comes to obtaining signatures, walking around with books, conventions, you name it. I've done it. Hurt myself doing a lot of it. Inconvenienced many others. So I've learned definitely the do's and don'ts.
Man, I'm looking over here. Shout out to the cats that are on IG. I don't know what's going on with I'm using the vertical thing, and it got us looking crazy on IG, but they see us. But shout out to my boy Xavier and everybody else on IG. Hop on over to YouTube where it looks like it's supposed to look. But anyway, fantastic points, Tony. We're going to dive in just a sec, but we got to talk about the picks of the week here for a second, because just last week it was a huge block party out in the Los Angeles area, and if you look to the left of the screen, Stash fam, that's a lot of names. That's all the people that were there that you could get books signed and for free, I might add. And Mark the Honorable Villain was there. He's our street correspondent and also our talent coordinator here at Sig Slayer Station. And he went here. And I just got to just rattle off some names because maybe the font is too small. Nathan Fillion, Guy Gardner from Superman, the Superman movie, he was there. Shout out to Tony Fleece from Feral and Stray Dogs. He was there. Timmy Haig from, I want to say Arsenal Comics, and he's doing Archie. He was there. Brian Michael Bendis was there. Mike and Laura.
4 hours late, I bet.
Maybe. Scott Kobus was there. Patton Oswalt was there. Zeb Wells. I mean, it was just. I'm looking. I'm just trying to look. Porn Chat P-Chat show. I mean, a lot of these people were former guests on the show. Tim Sheridan. Shout out to Tim Sheridan. Who else? Oh, Gary Duggan, or Jerry Duggan, or Gary Dugan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He was there. Kyle Higgins, who's going to actually be a guest on the show next week. Oh, golly. I mean, all of these people were free. And this is the block. So from 11 to 6, there were signings. That's a long time, dude. Yeah, so the first block was from 11 to 12 p.m. And the last block was 5 to 6 p.m. So that's an all-day thing. And Mark said it was massive. Mark said it was pretty chaotic. But I'm looking at, and then they also had panels. And these, I think all the stuff was kind of outdoors. And this is at a place, Tony, called Revenge of. It's like a pinball comic book shop. So it's in like near a place. I think what is Echo Park or Silver Lake. So it's a real hipster kind of place in LA, in the middle of the valley in East LA, huh?
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool hip spot. Patton Oswalt, he's always there. The Minor Threats crew's always there. Kelly Sue DeConnick was there. I mean, this was crazy. This is a crazy, crazy event. I have yet to go to one. This is the second year they did this, but Sig Slayers was there, and maybe next year, if they do this again, I'll go. But here's a pick from Mark with Jason Sean Alexander. Okay, one of the great artists of today, Spawn artist, co-creator of Philadelphia, and then Mike and Laura Allred. I never met either one of them. Have you met the Allreds before?
I have not.
Yeah, I have a couple things I want to get signed. I got a couple Catwoman issues, and then I think he did an Action Comics 1000 cover that I want to get signed. But shout out to Mark, the Honorable Villain. He was there on the scene. Yes, of course, California, DeClaw, man. You know how it is, man. You saw all these names. It is crazy. It's crazy. And this was free, dog. This was all free. This was free. This costs nothing. You just pull up. But it was crazy, though, dog. It was crazy. It was people. It was Peep Hill. Let me look at. Oh, John Bogdanoff was there, the creator of Steel. Wow. And he was sketching. Oh. Mark, I wish I would have uploaded it, but he got a Steel sketch from John Bogdanoff.
That's awesome. I wish I got anything from John Bogdanoff.
He lived nearby. I was surprised he was there. I'm combing through this list. If there's anybody else? Oh, Jeremy Adams was there. Yeah, this was a heavyweight event, all free 99, free, no money. You know, all res, Jason Sean Alexander. It was pretty nuts. It was pretty nuts. So that's our picks of the week. And shout out to the Revenge of, and just that whole conglomerate, because there was a lot of shops that collaborated with one another. I believe Collectors Paradise was involved. Arsenal Comics, Timmy Hague owns. This dude is like 30 years old and owns 2 comic book shops. It's crazy. And he's writing Archies. And so shout out to all of them. Once again, shout out to Mark the Honorable Villain for being on the scene. And we got some heavyweight interviews coming up. So we that whole event bore fruit for the Sig Slayer station. All right, so now we're getting to the main event, the Signature Kings Royal Commandments, and I didn't have the time to get my trumpet music together. Next time we do something like this, you'll have some royal music to bring you in, this red carpet to bring you in. All right. And so we're talking about all the things that we think, the 10 essential things that you need to know to be prepared to get your book signed at a Comic-Con or anywhere for that matter. Because these rules apply anywhere. The comic book shop signings, even more so. If you practice these things at those LCS signings, you will also have a successful event. And you want all your books to come out great. And so we're talking about the 10 signature commandments. And let us know. I believe we have a poll out. And the poll is, do you get comics signed at every time you go to cons? And right now it's 67 to 33%. And so we got that poll going. We're going to be asking questions throughout the night. We want to know, because we want to zero in on this discussion. And feel free to ask questions. We will answer them. But we got to go with the first commandment, Tony. And the first one is honor thy books, right? What do we mean by that?
Oh man, that's so much comes into that. Something that comes to mind immediately is placement. Placement is huge. Help me out.
but when we're talking about honor thy books, we're talking about the prep beforehand.
Yeah, the prep.
What are we putting our books in? Like, how are we taking them to the show? Or you just, do you have a bag? Do you have a box? What are you putting your comic books in? Because that's important.
I've seen people just hand carry their stacks of books, and that's fine. If that works for you and you don't mind doing it, go for it. Hey, you got a couple, little kids with you or some buddies, give them some books, let them carry it. But what works for me are these beautiful comic folios. They open up, stick your books right inside, carry them. They hold about 10 books a piece, and you can get about 7 or 8 in a short box. You can get quite a bit. But yeah, these are huge. You can, if you got a little sketch cover too, you got going on here, you can put it in here, change out the art whenever you want. These things are worth it, and they're $10. These are
$10, and then the other thing is too, because of that transparent thing, you can put notes like what signatures that you want in that box. You could check off the list. So you could put some transparent paper. Some copy paper in there, and have your list, and then you could update your list as the show goes along. Boom, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And then it just makes the search easier. You said it's $10, and it holds how much? How many books?
10 books inside of bag and boards.
Okay.
11 if you really want to squeeze it in there, but I wouldn't go more than 10 to be honest with you. But yeah, look what you can do. This just cost me nothing but time to make and print it, right here on my desk. Slide it in, makes it so much easier to find stuff. You know what I mean? And that's great.
Let us know if you guys got these Storefolio things, man. Let us know what you bring. How do you prepare for a Comic-Con? Because that is important. And me, if you know me, if you see me at a show, coast to coast, New York to San Diego, right? If you see me there, then you see me with one of these, okay? The Costco Cheez-It box, all right? Now, this stores about, I think, 45 comics, all right? So if you're a Cheez-It fan and you go to Costco, keep these boxes. And matter of fact, these boxes are very durable, and they fit. I'm just going to show you. They fit snug. It's actually crazy. It's crazy how these books fit. Look at how they fit.
You gotta start getting people to sign your Cheez-It box.
I do have a signed Cheez-It box. I have Tony Daniel on a Cheez-It box, and I have but my first ever signed Cheez-It box was from Jeremy Adams. So what you bring your comic books in is very vital, because it helps you with your organization. I think that's the main thing. If you're Sig Slaying, that means you're going to a show where there's a lot of people that you got books that you want to get signed, and there's a lot that goes into that. And so knowing where your books are, and then if you're someone like me, where like sometimes the comic gods bless you, where you might see them away from their table, and you can get a quick free Sig, knowing where your book's at, and you're not fumbling around. That's why I like to keep my books organized, because I've seen cats not at their tables, and that's the difference between $10 and free. All right, and just random. And if you know where your books are, I'm not talking about to the T, right? Okay, so you got Tom King, for example. Know where your Tom King books are. Know where your Joel Jones books or Mark Silvestri, whoever it is. However you have your checklist down, make sure you know where your books are, and you want them in a safe place, because you're going to be moving around, especially if you're in long lines. You got to get to another long line, and you're on time crunches. So definitely honoring thy books is important. Keeping your books safe in a long line, especially at San Diego Comic-Con where there's people flying all around, right? So sometimes it's not just as easy as turning around and going to, some place to put your books away. Sometimes you got to walk far and in between people to put your books away and hope that these people don't knock your books out of your hand. And that's happened to me before at San Diego. So I'm talking about small shows, big shows. The bigger the show, the more you need those store folios or a Cheez-It box or something, because you're not gonna always have the time to put everything back nice and neat. You may have to go somewhere away from Artist Alley for a second and really get your stuff repacked the way you want. But you may not have all of that time in a long ass line. Let's say it's 50 people in line and you're like number 20, right? So there's 30 people behind you. Like they don't want to sit there and piece by piece see you repack your comics, right? And I think that's the most annoying thing. Get out of line. If you're done, get out of line and then figure it out.
You don't want to be like back when we were kids, that lady balancing her checkbook at the counter, at the checkout line. Remember those days? Yeah, no one does that anymore, but
no.
And
once again, I have my ringer on. But now we're going to this, because this is something, commandment number 2, this is something this is like your specialty. Choose markers wisely, okay? And we're going to talk about this a lot and in another commandment, but why is marker choice important, Tony?
Huge definition for that. So marker, not only choosing what type of marker, obviously that's huge, because you don't want to put, like a black ink Sharpie on like a mostly black cover, even though it happens. It just doesn't look good. But boy, the right color, the right type of marker, the right thickness of marker, all that could make or break the deal. Really, it could. For example, ones that I like, see if I can get the camera to focus here, are these Sharpie Creator markers. And they're great. Okay. You can get a whole truckload of them on Amazon. So this particular one, I don't know what color you would call this, maybe like teal, comes out on foil covers like this. So that's the exact marker that was used and everything. So it comes out really, really great on not only foil covers, but on dark covers. It makes them pop. It really does. You just get like that wow factor. Yeah, I could get this signed in like gold or like metallic, but sometimes paint, especially when you can get it to kind of match the cover. Oh, chef's kiss for sure. Yeah,
marker choice is important. And those are Sharpie markers, right? But what you said they're the Sharpie Creative?
Sharpie Creative markers, and the tip. See if I can get the focus here. Is really
let me get you zoomed in on that. That. Go ahead. Boom.
It is a fine tip marker. But what's nice about it is if the guy or gal signing it puts a little bit of pressure on it, it does kind of fan out and you get a little bit more thick signature. But I prefer more of a minimalist signature. So I don't need to press real hard to get some of that ink out. But yeah, now, the marker choice is huge.
Okay, so those are paint markers though, Tony, and I get kind of nervous around those things because paint markers typically take a minute or more to dry. What's the dry factor like on those Sharpie Creative markers?
You're right. There is a dry time, but it is really quick. I have seen some gentlemen super nerdy. I saw it at both C2E2 and Baltimore. They've got like some. I can see if I have one. This isn't actually, here it is right here. So they have like this light. It's just a light. It hits it with a UV light, and they go across the book with the paint on it.
Hold on, no, zoom this up, man. You busting out technology. The Signature King is busting UV rays on us.
Yeah, so I don't have it. This is just a really good example with this blue light.
Oh, okay.
So the signature gets placed on the marker with paint, and they come across it with the blue light. Dude, we're talking 5-second dry time. And I don't mean dry. I mean like you could smear it, touch it, feel it, stick it in the bag and board, and be without a doubt perfectly dry. 5 seconds.
Now what I'm gonna say, how should I say this? Because this is, I'm a big proponent of just try to keep it simple. The most reliable marker in the game to me is the black Sharpie. Using that,
the OG,
the OG, getting that on a light area on the book. It dries quick. Where if you have a stack, they can zip through them, and you don't have to worry about any bleeding from book to book. Unlike metallic markers or paint markers, and that's why I have a little bit of hesitancy using anything other. Now, paint markers, beware, because they take a while to dry, and I'm going to talk about that later. But then the metallic markers, let's just say typical run-of-the-mill gold, silver Sharpies, bronze, copper-looking Sharpies, right? The worst thing in the world, you got a fire-ass book, you really get a sign, you want it on a silver, and that silver is drier than the Mojave Desert, okay? And it's just, I mean, it looks like dust is coming off the tip of it, right? And then, to make matters worse, is the person who's signing the book, they notice that the pen is dry, and then they go get another pen, and then they go over it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a pencil ink job. No, now you're making it look like it's forged. No, just leave. I would rather have it dry and look at it like a bastard stepchild, right? Than to have them retrace it with a better looking marker, because then the pen strokes are more intentional, and I just couldn't do it. Just leave it alone. At that point, you ruin it. It's ruined. Just leave it alone, right? Give it to me for free then, right? That's what I say. Just give it to me for free. Everything is good. I'm not happy, right? So what I would suggest, if you're working with the Sharpies, the metallics, the typical ones that you would see at signings, is before you get your book signed, ask the person signing it to test the marker first, so you can see what that joint look like. Especially if you're paying. If you're paying, definitely ask them to test the markers. Now, if you're in Tony's case, where he's providing the markers, you're stupid if you haven't tested the markers beforehand, right?
Oh yeah, that's on you at that point. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have to test the markers. Your markers should be primed and ready to go. But if they already have their own markers, and a lot of people aren't like you and I, Tony, where they don't come. Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna ask that poll right now. Poll question is gonna be: do you bring markers to cons?
Then you got to remember to use your markers. Sometimes I completely forget.
Because like, I gotta know that. Let us know in the chat. Let us know, because Tony is suggesting the Sharpie creative markers, but if you don't bring markers, then what I'm saying is make sure that if you have a particular color choice that they have available, always test them. Always test the markers. Do not just leave it to the fates and hope that silver is going to be juicy. It might not be. Okay.
Or they might not have the color that you want. Now, if it's an artist, I notice they tend to have absolutely everything under the sun, so it's really not a problem. But like for a writer, like a Joe Stanton, Mark Waid, that kind of thing, like.
So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. I call these bastard books, and so this bastard book here, Stash Fam, is a book that shows the worst case scenario: a dry signature with the person that signed it tracing over it. And I'm going to show you how horrible it looks. It looks pretty hideous. All right. I mean, so this book has a lot of disasters on it. This book is cursed. I'm not going to show you the top part yet, But you see that right there? That's Scott Snyder.
Ooh.
He put thanks on it. This is a disaster, guys. Can you guys see that?
That's rough.
You see how bad that looks? That is awful. And look at it, dude. This is after I got Scott Williams, Alistair Clare, Jim Chung. I was on a roll, and then this crap happened.
Oh, that's the worst.
You see this? This is insane. Okay? And that's not the worst thing that happened to this book. I will show that part later. But speaking of the devil, this is that dry ass gold. Because that was my fault. I didn't test it. So learn from my mistakes is what I'm saying. Dry ass gold. And then he thought he was doing me a favor by getting a better gold and tracing over it. And you guys tell me, does this look good to you? I mean, the Signature King is cringing right now.
Yeah, it looks pretty gnarly. It looks like it got wet. I know it didn't get wet, but if I was like a grader or some kind, I'd be like, what is this mess? You know what I mean? What happened to this book? This
is awful, guys. This is awful. I can't stress how, like, I'm so mad at this book because it, you know, like I said, they got Scott Williams, Jim Chung, and I thought I was on a roll. And so the claw saying color Sharpies on white covers are perfect. For example, I had red Sonya sketch variant signed with the green Sharpie. Yes. Okay, but beware. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, the claw. Fantastic comment. Let's talk about color Sharpies, because sometimes people buy color Sharpies thinking that they're paint markers, and then they get mad when they see the translucents. Right? They get mad. And you know, that green, they want that green to pop, right? They want a green Posca, or a green Sharpie Creative, where it's gonna pop above the book, right? Instead of blending in the book. You know, and so make sure that you have, if you want a colored marker and you want it to have a pop, those are paint markers, right? And then because Sharpie has paint markers and they have regular color markers, and those are going to be your traditional marker, but orange or, you know, green. Like Tom McFarlane used a green marker a lot. I mean, a blue marker a lot. He rarely used a black Sharpie, but he used a paint marker and he used blue a lot. I noticed that recently. And so if you're looking for colored markers that pop, make sure that you're going into the paint marker range. And then DeClaw says here, he always brings his own marker. Definitely, if you want things to go the way you want them to go, bring your own markers. If you want to leave things to
no, go ahead, finish your thought.
If you want to leave things to the fate, then I would say make sure that the markers are tested, or else you run the risk of having something that looks like this. Okay, so you don't want that by no means. So take my advice, learn from my mistake, and test the markers if you don't have your own marker. Okay, so like choose markers wisely, and that's the point. And then the other aspect, right? Make sure that, oh, you know what? I'm going ahead of myself. I almost went somewhere.
So,
okay,
real quick, what is your favorite type of cover to get signed? So, for example, every chance I get a black and white, you know, like usually do like a 1 in 50 is like the cover A, but just like the pencil sketch variant.
Oh, like the sketch variants, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the best, because like if you're doing like a Green Lantern, you can come in with like a really nice bright green and then just get a sign on it. I just think that looks so cool. They're talking about red Sonya. So if it was like a pencil sketch variant, I'd be coming in with some hot red or something. I don't know why I've always been really prone to a sucker for those types of covers.
No, me too. Like Jim Lee sketch variants come to mind. Yeah. Do I have something here? A sketch variant here? I didn't bring a sketch variant in my stack, but I'm glad you brought that up. I did want to show an example of just using the black. So this is what I typically do now, guys. See that? This is Jerome Pena. Shout out to Jerome Pena. But this is just a black marker, and that's it, dude. And what's wrong with that? It looks clean to me. And
it matches Batman, you know what I mean? Because Batman's colors are black, so that makes sense.
It makes sense, man. And yeah, like if somebody had a purple or something like that, that would look cool too.
Ooh,
but I'm saying if you're on the go and you want low margin of error, keep it simple, stupid is what they say, right? Like, and so I always say, just give me the black marker because I got shit to do. Give me the black marker. No,
nothing beats old trusty. You know what I mean? A black sharp marker is like an old pickup truck you found on a farm. It's still rolling for some reason. Like it's never gonna quit.
It's never gonna quit. And then so now this one I'm probably gonna let's just go to it, man. Have your comics ready to sign. Jesus. Okay. And what I mean by that is we're all in line. I mean, a lot of comic book fans, a lot of signature guys, they get to the line early. So that shows preparedness, right? So that's being early is just one aspect of being prepared, right? The worst thing in the world, you've been waiting in line for 35 minutes, 40 minutes, hour, 2 hours. Then the signing happens. You get to the dang table, and the person right in front of you has their whole collection in front of them, and they haven't even taken the books out of the.
Now starting to open them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What were you doing that whole time? What were you doing that whole time? Right? Have your books out and ready to go. Right now, there's so many ways you can get your books ready to go. Right, where it just makes that experience easier and you know, pretty much error proof. And I think you have a pretty solid method that you use, Tony. And how do you keep your books ready for the signings?
So very easy. I have these really cool yellow bags that I bought some time ago, and pretend this is the bag, right? So you don't need to put it in another bag. I do have it in a bag on this one, just as an example. But yeah, so all I got to do is open it. I get this nice little window, and then my creator could just come in and I can just close the bag. What's nice about it, what's really great about it, it might be a little hard to see, but the cover, this part is the cover, doesn't lay on the book. There's a lip, goes all the way around. The cover sits directly on the top of that. So even if you were using like a paint marker, you could still sign it in paint, and you could close that and be comfortable with it to, you know, just kind of set out to the side. Still be careful with it if it's a paint marker though, but you can be confident that, you know, you're not laying your paint directly on the cover. But it's great. It's convenient. It's easy. You're talking about a time saver. Boom. You just open up, they sign it, you walk away. What I have done in the past is put my book in, you know, this is, you know, right side up, but I've put it in upside down before. So when I open it and I just hand it to them, it's already there. Just close, done. We're talking, I could get a signature every 2 seconds. When I did that for Jim Lee, I mean, we all had a great Jim Lee experience at Baltimore, but you get the idea. There's lots of things you can do. If you don't want to pay for these, you can just make these with just bags and boards. Really, just cut out a window here, put some blue painter's tape around so they can see the edge, and you can do it that way too. There's lots of people that I've seen do that. That's really fun.
Yeah. Where I'm from, we call those glory holes, where you put the little hole in them. That's what we call those. Like where I'm from, man. You know, because we were like, what the hell are those? But what I like about yours, and this is what the glory holes do too, is it gives you the bag and board experience, right? Where you still have your book protected by some aspect of the bag, but you have, you know, you can just get your signatures. You can just pull them out and throw them in front of the person. Okay, if that's how you roll, do that. But even if you have it like that, have your books out in your hand too.
Oh yeah.
Don't be taking them out the bag either. Like even if you have your stuff, even if you have a stack of books and those bags that you have, Tony, have them in your hand ready to rock. All right. Don't be shuffling around. That's what we're saying. Have your comics ready to sign. And here's why. Let's say we're talking about all conditions here. So we're talking about, every condition you can think of. Not every signing is going to be just a cakewalk where you can just walk, waltz in and waltz out. Most of these people, like, for example, you got Nick Jagoda behind you. I waited 2 hours in line in New York for him. Okay. So, and there was hella people behind me too. So in a situation like that where people are being as patient as they could be, you want to be considerate of their time and have your stuff ready to go. Don't be that guy is what I'm saying. Like, don't be asleep behind the wheel. If you've been waiting in line, camped out for a while, why fumble at the goal line by not having your books ready, right? It's kind of goofy when you think about it. And that's how I look at you. And that's how most Sig Slayers look at you. Oh man, look at this dude. Like, we were just talking. You was cool, dog. And then now you just taking your shit out the bags and boards right now. Really, we was kicking it, man. Like, you were cool, dog. Like, man, I had love for you, man. You used to be beautiful. But now, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you taking your books out one by one and you talking too much to them. Like,
I was number 5 is the best. I wait until I'm 5 people back. Once I'm 5 people back, then I start pulling stuff out if I need to. I don't want to be pulling stuff out if I'm like 20 in line. But yeah, at a minimum, 5 is the magic number for me. Because you got to think everyone's going to talk to whoever for at least 1 minute, maybe longer.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not discouraging having that connection with the creators, right? But we're saying when there's a huge volume of people, learn how to communicate on the go, on the fly, and they'll hook you up for that too. It's like if you have the sensibilities where you're aware of who's behind you, right? The next person behind you, everything tends to go better in your favor. And so basically what we're saying is this is kind of a consideration thing, not just for the people behind, but also the people that are signing. The worst sight in the world is when I see a writer or artist helping the person take the books out the bag and board. That's the worst. Dude, embarrassing. Like, knock it off. Knock it all the way off. Have your comics ready to sign. I mean, that to me, you can't call yourself a Sig Slayer and look goofy like this, right? And for me, I don't do glory holes. I don't do folders. I don't do nothing. I'm just an old school desperado where I have my books out butt naked in my hands where they can get sweaty. Okay. But typically what I do is I have my books out and I have like my bags and boards. I have everything ready. If I'm waiting for an hour, my stuff is ready to go. Matter of fact, here's another thing. I have my books organized by the colors too. So if I have black, silver, I have all my blacks and silvers stacked together. I don't do them by comics. I do them by the color of the marker that I'm trying to get signed because that helps things out go quicker too. So if I have black markers, if I have a stack of black books that I want black markers on, I will get those done. And then I have my stack of silvers, and then that way I can test that marker. And if it's good, we'll rip those 5 or 6 out. And then if it's bronze or whatever, that's what I do. So I'll even, because think about this: if you're camping out, what the hell are you doing? Right? Yeah, we're talking and chopping up with people, but if you ain't getting your shit ready for the game, you ain't really playing. So I'm looking at it like, hey, let me get my, I got a stack of books. I don't care how many. It could be 5, it could be 2, right? I got all my books color coordinated, and I always start with the blacks first because they're the ones that dry the quickest, and you want to bang those out, and then you want to pay attention to those metallics, those paints and stuff. And so you don't want to be having your stuff all mixed. You don't want that. You want to be mindful of that stuff, okay? Because things take moments to dry. And even with the blacks, even with all my markers, I still leave a piece of the signature out so that it could get direct air before I have them completely stacked on top of each other. So I kind of do this kind of rotating tower thing where all the books have its own piece of air so it could dry independent. And then once I see that they're all dry, then I kind of close them into a a solid uniform stack. And that's what I'll do that with a man. I got all kind of game for y'all. But the number one thing I want y'all to know is have y'all books ready, have them out, and then you have time to, okay, here's my blue ones, here's my silver, stuff like that. Like that, trust me, it will make things go by quick, and they'll be impressed. They'll be like, oh man, you got your shit together. And that's what you want, because you never know. That's what I say. If you got your stuff together, you never know. You might get a little remark or something just because you didn't waste that person's time. You didn't ask for it, but shit happens like that, guys. All right, moving on. Know thy cost. And we spend a considerable amount of time here on Stash Wars Live talking about signature price guy, right? And shall we go through some of it, right? All right, so tier 1 is $5 to $10. And so basically what we're saying here is with this commandment, know thy cost, is do the research, guys. I'm getting to the, there we go. I'm over at do the research. The sucky part about things, Tony, is when you're doing your research on who's going to be at the Comic-Cons, it doesn't tell you the signature price on the website, right?
Doesn't. No, never does. That's a shame.
Or when such and such is posting on Instagram or their social medias, and they're saying, hey, I'm going to be at this show, normally they don't post their signature price there either, right?
Sometimes they just straight up ask them, hey, what are you charging?
And that I was going to say that, and until someone in the comment section, hey, how much you charging, right? So what we're suggesting, if you don't know what tier your artist is, ask, especially on their social media when they're promoting. And I just want to give everybody an update. Okay, so Tom King, all these guys are still $10 right here, right? Lee Bermejo is he's 2 free, then $10. But the one important thing about Scott Snyder that people don't talk about is that you got to get a ticket. So he's comic sketch art mostly. And then at the beginning of the day, you got to get a Scott Snyder ticket. So you got to go to his table, even though he's not there, and get a ticket. And then that'll be for the signing later on. If you don't have that ticket, no Scott Snyder Sig. I think that is something that they should publicize more often, because it leaves a lot. It leaves so many people frustrated, thinking that they can get a Scott Snyder Sig. So I just want to repeat myself one more time. If you're getting Scott Snyder Sigs, more often than not, he's at a comic sketch art booth, and you have to go at the beginning of the day to that area where his table is at and get a ticket first. He's $10, but if you don't have that ticket, no bueno. Okay. So I just wanted to say that. But then we have updates on tier 2. Jeff Loeb is $40 now. Okay. And so is Gabriel Delato. So Gabriel Delato and Jeff Loeb, they're $40. And so this is tier 2. And so when we say know thy cost, right? When we're talking about the commandments here, the 10 signature commandments, know thy cost. This is a part of it. And this is a part of our discourse here on Stash Wars Live every Friday. We talk about the ever fluidity of these signature costs. Sometimes these guys is 40 in one place and free in another place. It mind boggles. The Claw was earlier talking about in California. We just showed people a whole block party with everybody and their mama, a partridge in a pear tree, all of these creators, right? For free. Normally they would be $10 anywhere else. Normally they'll be here or more, right? But they were at this block party last week for free. So location matters in the signature game. Where you're attending, where you seeing them at will impact the cost. And so that's why you need to know, because you might be at an event where you might get something for free. So know thy cost. Know how much these signatures are going to cost beforehand, because that also impacts how many books you're gonna bring if it costs, right? If you know a dude's okay, on average, if a signature is $60, right? So what tier is that? So we have tier 3 here, right? 50 to 60. Actually, there's actually a tier. There's 5 tiers now because Jim Lee has made a new tier, and I haven't made that slide yet. Jim Lee was $70 in New York, $69.99 to be exact.
I don't know why you do that. Just make it $70, dude.
$70, right?
$69.99.
So there's a tier 4 and a tier 5, but how many books are you getting signed if someone charges $60 a Sig? Just on average, like if you saw that person, how many books would you get?
Me, honestly, let's pretend it was a Jim Lee. I never hardly ever see Jim Lee, so $60 to me is 50 to 60 is reasonable, or 70 I might be able to justify, but it all depends on who the creator in the book is. But someday if it becomes the new standard where a lot of people are charging $50 to $70 for a signature, I guess I'm out then.
Would you get like 1 or 2? So if it's Jim Lee, are you getting like 10? Or are you getting 1 or 2?
I'm getting 1, but usually what he does too is he usually has some kind of package you can buy. You buy his super cool VIP experience. Yeah, that's $500, but you might get like 7 free signatures. Not free, but that ticket's worth 7 free signatures. And a selfie. Like at Baltimore, it was 7 free and a selfie when you bought his ticket. So that was kind of cool. So if you do the math on that, it was much cheaper. But if I had to pay $70 for one, then I'm just going to get one.
Yeah, you're going to get one, right? And then this is the old tier 4. Now we have a tier 5, right? So this would be tier 5, $80 to $100. Jim Lee tier 4 by himself at 70. Okay, so I'm just giving you guys that update because it pertains to this particular commandment. Know thy cost, and so you definitely want to know how much these books are. When I started getting SIGs about 20 some odd years ago, man, all this stuff was free, and I scoffed at the idea of artists and creators charging for signatures. But now that's just the lay of the land. And so, do you have any kind of rule of thumb when it comes to costs and signature prices?
I obviously I try to go for as cheap as I can, but in this case, if it was someone crazy expensive, I really got to be picky. If I'm only doing one because of the cost, I really got to get the best book out there. I'm not going to get a 9.0 reader copy of whatever. I'm getting something that's going to be as close to a gem mint as humanly possible. Some super rare variant that maybe I can track down somewhere. And I'm going to treat it like it's, the last book on earth as much as I can. But I'm not above, like Frank Miller. I've never met Frank Miller. I've never had the opportunity. $100.
Really? Okay.
He's getting old. That $100 might not be so bad because he signs my book for $100. He passes away, right? Now is that book really worth more than $100? Yes, it is. Probably a lot more. So it depends on how you look at it. I'm not necessarily a dude that does a lot of speccing, but I know a good deal when I can see one. If I can boost the value of my personal collection, I'll definitely do it.
Yeah, I agree with that rule of thumb. Like, make your book count, right? Make it count. Make it be something that means something to you. For you, also, condition matters to you. But some of these books, you might be at the mercy of what you can get, depending on the scarcity of it. But if you can get your hands on a better copy, do that. If you have time to do so, definitely do that. I have a couple rules of thumb. I'm talking about know thy cost, guys. I'm talking about how you budget and what you think about when you get your book signed. What are the things that you consider, in other words, right? And so one of my rule of thumbs is a pay your dues clause, right? It's like, I'm not going to pay top dollar for somebody that just got into the game.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know what I mean? You just been in the game 5-6 years and you got a couple hot variants. Now you want to charge $20. Kick rocks, okay? Get your cake up. You charging the same amount as Jim Starlin? Get out of here. There's no way in the world I would support you.
I had that exact same experience at C2E2 this year. It was a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, but he did his first ever DC published works, and he basically didn't do anything before that. And he was trying to charge $25 per. I'm like, listen, bro, like, I'm going to do one because I'm standing at your booth, but like, I'm probably not coming back. And I don't know if many people will. You can't know your worth. It boils down to know your worth.
What up, Black Spiders? Always buy a fresh Sharpie, gold, silver, black, depends on the color. So Black Spiders is saying that he's definitely prepared for bringing his own markers. And like I said, Sig Slayers normally do. If you frequent these shows and you go to these shows, your main reason is to bring comics to get signed, odds are you're coming prepared with your own markers. And so I just want to reiterate that, you know, if you're a new jack in the game and you're charging more than Legends, I'm not going to support you, and I probably won't ever support you. I probably won't buy your comics because it's like you got to pay your dues, man. And that's the other thing. A lot of these books aren't even worth the cost of the signature. So you want a $25 book, $25 a signature on a $7 book? Get out of here. Like, no, a book, a signature that high, the book should be worth at least $60 and up. You know what I mean? So there you go. That's my little so I have a little ratio system too. Don't get expensive SIGs on boo-boo ass books. Like, I don't even care if this a sentimental value, man. Dude, hey, you know what? If it's sentimental value, you know what they'll do for free? Ask them to get it personalized. Be like, hey man, can you personalize it for me? And then if it's sentimental, get it personalized. Most of these people will do it for free. But I urge you not to a $3, $5, $10 book and you spending $25, $30 on a SIG. Do not do that. You know, get your cake up and find some key that can go with that SIG. If not, and if you really want this book, but hey man, I'm just a big fan, personalize it. I'm not gonna sell it. You know, most of these people would do it for free. Okay, so if you just want your SIGs, just because it's your collection or this is what I grew up with or whatever, don't go in this line getting a bunch of books signed and you don't care about the value of them or the conditions or whatever. Like, get them personalized. You know,
yeah.
That's what that, you know, if you don't care, if they're your books, you're not going to sell them. Hey, as do it like dogs do, pee on a tree, get it personalized and then boom, you know, they're yours forever till you cease. Right. So that's my one thing it's, you know, you got to have some level of experience in the game to be charging more than tier 1. Okay. That's my rule of thumb. If you're more than tier 1, you got to have weight in the game. You got to be a household name across the community. The creators know who you are because you got recognition. You got notoriety. If it's a $25 book, I'll bring 4 books and ask to give it to me for $60. Closed mouths don't get fed. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do what you got to do. Cash is king. True. But I'm looking out for the people that are, you know, may not be informed. Hey, if you're not trying to sell it or do stuff like that and they're just your books, get them personalized, dude. Like, and then you will have a better experience. Most of these guys are not going to charge for personalized signatures. It's the unpersonalized because guess what? You and I want our books not personalized, right?
I don't think I've ever gotten a book personalized.
Oh, I have. I've got duped into them. Like, I've got duped into them. Hey, what's your name? And then, you know, I'm thinking we're talking in there.
Now that you say that,
like,
I think I can think of one. Yeah. Hey, what's your?
It wasn't voluntary personalization. That's for damn sure. It was
Tim Seeley who did it to me one year.
Yeah, man. F that. But if you don't mind things, then, you know, hey, get them personalized. So once again, expensive books. I mean, expensive signing, expensive books. You know, you want to have something, you know, the same level, right? And then as it pertains to know thy cost, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the 10 signature commandments, and we're on know thy cost. Budget for your books, guys. And we went over the tiers like we do most Fridays. Definitely smash the like button too, guys. Smash the like button. The other thing too, guys, is I always kind of do things like if I'm getting books signed and I have to pay for them, right? Greatest hits of that person first, right? Greatest hits, get those out of the way. Like I don't do chronological order when money's involved. I'll do chronological order if I'm getting free books signed, right? Okay, I'll get 1 through 6, whatever. But if it's books where I'm paying $10, no, I'm getting, like you said, the most relevant book, of that person's career first. And then once I check those boxes, then I'll just kind of go in descending order. Then I kind of lean towards chronology after that. But in the beginning, I just met the guy. I'm trying to get the greatest hits done first, get them out the way. And then the filler issues, I'll get those signed at a later date, even because I'm paying. So if I'm paying, I might not get more than 4, maybe 5 on books signed on a tier 1, just because I'm like, okay, I got to go over this person. He's charged 10, or that person's charged 10. So I'll keep my SIG count low, and then I'll kind of prioritize and I kind of do things in waves. So I hit artists in waves. And so when you're dealing with $10 SIGs, that add up, man. And especially if you're hitting multiple artists at that same price point, it can get real expensive real quick. And you're going multiple days at a show, right? So if you're going one day, you're getting everything done. But if you're going multiple days, you never know what you're going to be doing on that second and third day, right? So I always say get your priorities out of the way. Don't try to get everything done all at once when you are getting books signed at a cost. Prioritize. I like to do like 3 or 4 books, and this is if someone has that career where they have an extensive catalog where you want dozens of books signed over the course of time. I kind of prioritize keys first, and then I do chronology after that. What's Black Spider saying? George Perez never charged me for a signing, headshot, or body. He charges that fine. He's a legend. Rest in peace, George Perez. And to his last days, he did not charge for signature. And that's what the people. I always applaud the creators that get paid to create first. Like a signature is not a comic book, right? You're not making a comic book. You're getting paid off the signature. So the ones that make the bulk of their money off of the actual craft and they charge free, there is no charge, I should say. It's free. Those are the people that I kind of rock with the most because, hey, now people are buying commissions, right? Head or body shots. It's like, hey, I'm getting free SIGs. Now I can spend $100 and get a remark or get a cool little quick sketch. You know what I mean? Because he's not charging for the signature. And so George Perez, he was one of those types of people. Doug Mankey comes to mind. Dustin Wynn comes to mind, where they get paid for their art. They're not going to price gouge you because they can. And so, so in other words, basically what I'm saying is I prioritize based on the keys, and then I keep the SIG count low so I can diversify the amount of SIGs I get over the course of the show. So I might only have, 4 or 5 books if that person has that. And then what if there's somebody where you have a dozen books for, right? You keep that you can save the books that you were going to get 10 books with this guy and use that 6 that you were going to use and fork it over for the other guy and get more of it. Because, somebody like Chris Claremont comes to mind where, I mean, this dude's whole X-Men run, Uncanny run is like a key run where there's so many keys in there. So it's like, where do you start, right? And so somebody like him, where you want to load up, great. But everybody else, a lot of these modern guys do like, 3 or 4 and then keep it pushing. Now we're on to pick a worthy location. Now we're talking about signature placement, Tony. I know you got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I could do a whole TED talk on that, believe me. But I've seen some really ugly placements, like some that come to mind here. It's like right across the big logo. You know what I mean? And the logo is already crowded, and you add this big signature in. Just doesn't look good. Or I've seen some really awesome placements. Like I have this really awesome Power Girl cover.
Okay, show us some awesome. Yep.
Ron Rendell was on top of it, and he signed across. If you catch my drift.
Okay, that's the book right there.
No.
Oh, okay.
I can grab it here, but yeah, I'll just have to show it to you. It's really funny. It's got an awesome story to it.
So we definitely picking worthy location, and so here's one I'm just gonna show. This is very basic, but it's still all the same. Got a nice silver marker. This is Jason Sean Alexander. Got a nice silver in that dark area at the bottom. It's not in the way, right? A lot of times the bottom on these virgin covers or these semi-virgin covers, you can get a nice sig on them, especially if you're using something with contrast. So as we said, choose markers wisely, right? Also, location deals with the color choice and the contrast, right? Here's another one. I love this one right here. Since Tony's here, I picked out a foil cover for him. And this is gold, and this is on a gold foil cover. And you got Jim Lee signed on the top, and then you got Alice Sinclair here. And yes, this is a banging book. And I'm a shameless plug. All of these books that I'm showing tonight are going to be available at my Backstravaganza on Whatnot next Saturday, November 22nd. Be there or be square. Yes, so this book could be yours. This is going to be on Whatnot. But see that gold? It pops. See that gold? Everything there, it pops. The signature placement there, it pops, right? This is that royal foil right there for you. All right? And so placement matters. It just pops. And this book is beautiful. Jim Lee, Alice Sinclair, this is the Batman 50. This is awesome. You want to be able to have a marker choice. As we said in one of the commandments, that's going to accentuate the cover, but then you want to have the placement that goes with it as well. What you got, man?
So, the book that I was talking about is this Power Girl special. So, as you can see, Ron Rendell was only really excited to sign right here. So that's kind of cool story for placement. But something really awesome like this. Great color, great signature placement. Off to the side, in the light colored area, gold tip Sharpie marker. And look at this. It's great. This is a great example of
fantastic.
Great color, great marker choice, great placement, great cover. So this
who's that? Ron Mars, and who's the other guy?
Ron Mendel and Ron Mars and Brandon Peterson. Boss Logic variant. For
Boss Logic, huh?
Yeah. This is a good one. So yeah, look at on a 9.8. This is all of them. This is all of them.
Yeah, so pick a worthy location, and believe it or not, this is stuff that takes place before the show. Now, if I'm stymied, I'm gonna ask somebody in line, and that's like on a rare occasion. But a lot of times, this is all happening as I'm packing. So this is all getting scanned. I'm processing all of this information as I'm packing the books. I'm packing the books, putting them away. I already know where I want that book to be signed, and I pretty much have a close idea on what color I want the marker to be. This is all happening at, so this is not even where it's taking a lot of my time anymore, because I train my mind to process this stuff as I'm packing now. So I'm just doing it like it looks like it's on the fly, but it really isn't. I love Rob Liefeld, but he is pricey. $150 a signature? Hold up, what?
Yeah, it seems
wait a minute, $150? So he's more than Frank Miller?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that were true.
Wow. You know what? I don't have a Liefeld Sig. He's a legend, but he hasn't done anything that I like, as far as like wanting to get signed. Like, I wasn't like the 90s. The 90s, this could be a hot take, but it's one of the most overrated, decades to me. Like the first half of the 90s was good, but the second half was pretty whack. So pretty much after Death of Superman, shit sucked. I'm not just talking about DC. I'm talking about both. Like there was some cool stuff that happened. Like, don't get me wrong, there was some cool stuff that happened, but it happened in spurts. The 80s was flooded with a lot of good stuff. And then I would say 2000 to 2010 was the same way. And then I think we hit a drop off, but I think we're back on a resurgence again. But I digress. Pick a worthy location, Stash fam, and let us know in the comments, man. Do you have any horror stories of something going wrong? Like I've shown things wrong. I don't have a bastard book that pertains to signature location, but I have other ones. But Rob Liefeld 150, that says a lot. Only have one Liefeld signature. He did it for free a couple years ago, and that's my other point, because Rob Liefeld does sign for free at times. He signed at the Image booth at San Diego Comic-Con this year, Golden Apple. So there are times where he'll do it, but it's usually he'll sign the book that he's promoting. But a Liefeld Sig is a Liefeld Sig, or he'll have another book that, if an additional book, he'll charge at a discount, right? So like not 150. 150 is crazy. And more than Frank Miller, that's diabolical in my book. That's diabolical. You charge more than Frank, that's crazy. Like to me, that's what I mean. Like there should be a pecking order. Whoever's the top dog, whatever the top dog charges, if you're not on that dude's level, you can't charge that dude's prices. Like, and Liefeld is huge, but he's not Frank Miller though. He's an Image founder.
Adjust accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not Frank Miller. Like, he's definitely a legend. He will be Frank Miller one day as far as his status, right? After Frank Miller's gone, then yeah, the Image people are next up to bat, but you gotta pay respects, and that's what I mean. You gotta respect your predecessors, and I'm jumping the gun, but you get nice remarks from brand name artists. Exactly. You get a really nice remark for that price from a lot of reputable artists. So pick a worthy location, Stash fam, and then paint marker rule of 3. So let me put that. I'm in the polls. I'm starting a new poll right now. Starting a new poll. Do you use paint markers for comics? All right, that's the new poll right now. And I have to say, I have a paint marker rule of 3. Okay. Now, this is something that I want you to understand. I have some pretty horrific examples. I'm going to start off with the first one. Now, the reason why I say paint marker rule of 3 is because depending on your brand. Now, Tony brought up the Sharpie creative markers, and I haven't used them, but you saying they have a pretty good dry time.
Yeah.
So the creative has a pretty good dry time, but depending on what marker you use, paint marker you use, it could take more than 2 minutes. And if you have a stack of books and they're all being signed with that paint marker, that increases the chance something horrific like this happens, guys. This is Todd McFarlane.
Ouch.
Okay, I want you to take a good look at this. Okay. Now, this only happened because multiple books were signed with the paint marker. They were set to dry, but like Sharpie time dry, not paint marker time dry. And it got prematurely stacked, and somebody bumped into the individual, and this was what happened. So paint markers, this happens all the time, guys. So I say don't be too cute. Now, this book here, a black marker would not look good. So the black, my trusty dusty black marker rule, I wouldn't use it for this book. This book screams silver. This book screams a green paint marker for that spawn glow.
Yeah.
Huh?
Or gold, or honestly, you could go with a bright red.
There's a lot of things with this.
Yeah.
But black does not come to mind.
No,
That's
not
what
black.
I'm saying. And so this is a Todd McFarlane signature, guys. You know how hard it is to get a Todd McFarlane signature? Imagine this was your first Todd McFarlane signature. Imagine that. Imagine you're getting a Todd McFarlane signature for the first time in your life, and this is it. Well, guess what, guys? This is my first Todd McFarlane signature. This is the Sig Slayers' first Todd McFarlane signature. Okay. Now, come from humble beginnings, but I learned my lesson. Okay. If you gotta draw, if you see the artist that insist on using paint markers, that might impact how many books I get signed. I'm gonna say, hey man, you using that paint marker? You know what, man? I'm only gonna do 2. You ain't fucking my books up, bro. Trying to be Picasso. Trying to be Picasso. Oh, you want to see another one? Now this here, I call this Bloody Daniel. Shout out to Sean. He gave this book that name. I name all my bastard books, by the way. This one here, look at this. Can you tell that's Tony Daniel?
No.
What the hell is this? This looks like a cat poltergeist signature. This is crazy. This is wild. This looks like, a 5-year-old did a temper tantrum. Now, guess what happened with this, Tony? I'm going to tell you what happened with this.
All right.
I hate to throw them under the bus, but I'm going to do it. Common sketch art. I was in the common sketch art line in 2022. You see that 22? That 22 is from San Diego Comic-Con. Okay. And they took my books, right? Handed them to Tony. Tony was using one of them red Posca markers, and they just stacked it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm talking about like nothing, like no dry time, like boom, 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 right? And this is Batman R.I.P. The conclusion, a variant. This is a variant cover. You got to get these on eBay. You can't just get this at any old shop.
That's rough.
And you know what happened here? So it's smeared, and then Tony thought he could, guess what? Trace it, and this is him trying to fix it. So it was a smear.
If that happens, and let's say that happened, and let's say Tony Daniel offered you $50, he was going to buy that book from you for $50 cash. Would you take it?
Say that again. What'd you say?
So I've seen this before, where the signature gets all smudged, and the artist or the writer, whoever is signing it, buys the book from you because they smudged it, and they know they smudged it. Would you do that?
No. And sometimes they try to charge a little cheaper, but no. Like if I notice a sign of it being a bastard, I won't do it. So this happened because an artist chose the paint marker. So beware. If you see an artist and they got a nice, cool paint marker and you got more than 3 books in your hand, get nervous, dog. Because how long are you going to be in line to wait for the markers to dry? And are you going to have the wherewithal to stack them in the right way so that the marker part don't touch the back of the other comics, which is what happened to these. So I had 3 Batman RIP variants that got paint on the back of them because they were stacked.
Why would they do that?
Because they're, I don't want to say it, but it's a word that starts with an I, and it rhymes with clidiot, okay?
You're right. Dude, you have to say, I know exactly what you're talking about. They're awful.
Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. So this situation led to another commandment that we're going to talk about. Okay. I've seen creators get, yes, you know what? I've seen that too. And when that works and it works out, it's fantastic. Bill Sienkiewicz can make a Picasso out of a loogie, okay? A smear and a loogie. All right. So yeah, if you could turn that smudge into something that you can forget about it and be like, oh my God, I love this book now. That's a special thing. But odds are they'll look at them, right? And you're looking at them and they shrug their shoulders and they're waiting on you to move on. Okay. Especially in the common sketch art line. So take control of the situation, right? And only 3 at best, because then you could do something like this, right? This is what I do. So you can stack them like this, right? Get out of line, let them dry, wave them like this. This is 3. And then once they're dry, put them away. And then you can use that Starship Enterprise technology that the Signature King has, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the main thing, guys, is don't get too cute, don't get overzealous with the paint markers. They will ruin your shit. So I'm just saying that with all due respect. Moving on. Okay. 1 book at a time. Okay. Like this prevents what just happened there. Okay. And what do I mean by that, guys? You got a stack of books. Here we go. Stack of books. This is a decent, this is a respectable stack. If you in line and I saw you with this, I say, hey, man, you're a cultured man, right? You got a stack like this. You're in line, right? That's cool. Now you're at the table, right? With the stack. Here you go, like a deck of cards, like a slow Uno deck. Okay, here you go. Once that's done, set it aside. Here you go. Once that's done, set it aside. And you do that until you are done, my friend. Do not give your stack to the artist. Do not give your stack to their handlers. Because if something goes wrong, they're going to look at you and go, I'm sorry.
Nothing and you're going to do about it.
And you're going to want to choke the living daylights out of them. It's going to be bad. So what you do is, and this is what I'm saying, guys, this pertains to the whole charge for signature world, right? So if you're paying for a signature, you feed the book. You have that right because you're ensuring that the signature that you pay for are going to get executed in the way that they need to get executed. And that's key. That is key there. So you got a stack of books 1 at a time. You would like to add anything to that, Tony?
Yeah, and just pray to everybody, every god you can think of. You're not stuck behind some guy like I was at the Jenny Frizen line who had an entire short box, and that's what he was doing 1 at a time. Jenny Frizen finally caught on and said, okay, I'm going to put you off to the side. I'm going to keep the line moving. You put these away. I'll sign more. But yeah, don't don't be that guy. But yes, one at a time. Don't overload their tiny work booths and station. I saw one time, it didn't happen to him, it happened to someone I saw. He had a couple of books down on somebody's table. Someone was looking at some other trinkets that was being offered, spilt something all over his books. So I'd rather ruin one than multiple. So one at a time, take it, put it somewhere else, one at a time. And Southern Comic Book Geek kind of has the advantage here, that notion, where he usually rolls around that giant wagon where he'll get a signature and he'll set it in the wagon face up, get something signed, set it in the wagon. So he's got his own personal space. So lucky him.
Yeah, that's great, right? You know, one book at a time is what we're saying. And then the other thing, we talked about this the other day, Tony, the buddy system. You got a homie, you got a friend that, you know, they didn't have a book or whatever, or they just got their book signed already, they're done. They had less books than you. One at a time, and then they're taking them and they're, you know, putting them to the side. They're helping out, speed up that process. Now, you mentioned the guy with the short box, and he was doing one at a time. Now, if he did that, he still didn't do it the right way, because you gotta have your books, you gotta have them ready, right? You gotta know what colors you're getting, and it has to be fast. Boom, 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 right? If you got a stack of books, if you got more than 10 books, have somebody help you out. Like have somebody help you out, because then they could be getting them ready in the dry process, seeing how dry they are, you know, stacking them while you're handling the SIGs. Okay, so if you got somebody, if your girl's with you, you got some kids or whatever, put them to work, dog. Hey, man, here. You know, it's you know, the buddy system works well when you're trying to get things done, and so it's just really how you strategize. You'll hate me when Signature was free last century. I'll have 25 exactly. Like, you know, I got 49 signatures from Ivan Reese, you know, Blackest Night artist, Green Lantern, Ghost Machine, High Street. 49 books all in one sitting, but it was like strategized. Like I took less time than someone that has 6 books, because they're bumping their gums, and I'm just like boom, 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 right? Color coordinated, tested out. I had a conveyor belt going on, and so if you do have dozens of books, right, which is going to happen, it's going to happen. If you have dozens of books, you definitely have to be even more strategic, because you don't want to be that guy. I think at the end of the day, you don't want to be that guy that everyone's looking at you and you're an asshole. But if someone had a stack of books and they were handling their business, I'd be like, yo, dude, this dude is cooking. I like his system, and I'll probably adopt some stuff. But it's really about the occasion too. If I'm in his Nick Dragoda line and I waited 2 hours and some dude came with a short box, you're gonna hear the biggest gasp ever. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like you're gonna hear somebody, and it's probably gonna be me. Like, what? This motherfucker brought all these books. We waited 2 hours. You know, I'm gonna try to use like voice throwing techniques and ventriloquism to make him think like it's coming from afar, but it's gonna be me talking shit right behind him, right? Dude, are you kidding me? Right? A short box, New York City. Come on, man. This can't be. So don't be that guy. Like, if you're there multiple days, knock it out multiple days. Or I say,
that's a big one.
Knock it out multiple days. But I also say this: if you're going to be that guy, then I say be first in line, be dedicated. If you're first, I'm not going to say nothing to you, dog. You're there before me. I ain't going to say jack. Get first in line, knock it out. First in line is kind of, they have little special rules. It's first in line, you kind of man in a line for a minute. First in line. So if you're first in line, I'm not going to say nothing. If you're 50th out of 400, like Nick Dragoda's was at New York Comic Con, dude, hey, do it in sections, nickel and dime, don't Don't kill us. Don't break our spirits. And keep in mind, these signings are timed. So it's not like they're sitting at their desk all day long. They'll do it for 2 hours and then that's it. So if you're killing everybody because you want to be greedy, well, all I like to say is what goes around comes around. So one book at a time, work with a team. If you have more than 10 books, try to get it done. Bang, bang. Have your colors coordinated, like we said earlier, and work in that fashion. And then this is kind of let me see what the most of my books are bring for one creator is 4. Now, if I'm paying, that's my rule of thumb too to call. Like if I'm paying, about 4. But because I'm from LA, man, and a lot of stuff happens, you know, shit, man. I got Kelly Jones one day free at the first short box, and I think he signed 77 books in one day. But I did it player though. I did it where I got some books signed, and then I let some people go, and then I was like, hold on. Then I got some, and I just did it like that. You know, where I got people through the line. You know what I mean? I didn't want to choke nobody up on the line. And so what does that mean, guys? Be kind in line, dude. Like, don't be that guy that's gonna be that jerk. Now, here's the number one jerk I hate. You mentioned VIP. Last year at MegaCon, there was some VIP thing they did where I'm not talking about the guys that could get in early in the show. I'm talking about like Common Sketch Art last year had a VIP, like where you can cut in line, like in mid line, right? So like dudes were like taking advantage of that, man. I mean, like full on boxing me out like they Chuck Barkley or something. It was crazy. Like I was at Brad Anderson's table. I bent over to get my books out, and some dude like literally like got in front of me and backed and like almost knocked me over with his backpack. And you know, I showed patience, but I mean it could have been ugly because that was incredibly rude. And so you don't want to be that guy that's, you know, taking advantage of the rules, right? If it's a 5 item or 2 item, you're bringing 15 or whatever. Like you want to make sure that you practice what goes around comes around, because it will come back on you, especially when you want something good to happen, right? You want to be right place, right time. A lot of times these signings, it kind of leaves you kind of left to the fates, right? Especially if someone is late, it could throw your schedule off. So like going from one signing to the next might be problematic if somebody messes up your schedule, right? And so I always say, hey, if I'm practicing good comic juju, then I'm going to be feng shui with my schedule, right? But if I try to take shortcuts and try to do somebody dirty, it's going to come back on me. So I always try to keep things clean. If I can help somebody out, I could, right? Like for example, if it's a 3 item limit and I only have 1 book, I'll ask the person in back of me, hey man, like all I have is 1 book. Do you want me to get 2 other books signed for you? I do that all the time, you know, because it might not be somebody that's popular in my collection, but it might be popular in yours. And then that just eliminates a tough decision that person has to make. So, hey man, if you're in a limited signing, you don't have that much, like give those spots to somebody that can eat it, you know? Hard looks. I've changed. This is funny. Black Spiders. I did for Chris Claremont. I mean, but think about it though. Chris Claremont, Black Spiders, like, especially now, we were talking about Frank Miller getting older. Chris Claremont's in that class, in that same, like, you know, generation, right, of creators. And he's got classics. If you're into Marvel, into the X-Men, he is the godfather of that series. And hey man, if you only see him once, you got to kind of do what you got to do. So I'm saying it can't be a regular practice where somebody goes, oh, there goes that motherfucker again right there. Oh, here we go. Long box Joe right here. Nah, man, you can't do that.
Box Joe.
You know what I mean? You do not want to be like, oh my god, like everybody's already like, already upset just at the sight of you. And I knew people like that. Like there's cats. I remember there's these two twins, dude. Everywhere I go, I see these two twins, dude, at these signings, and they had their wagon like SEG too, dude, and just kill me in the Claremont line. All I have is X-Men versus Teen Titans. That's all I want, right? I don't want to have to look at you get two long boxes because they're twins, so one of each, right? And they're all there, and they're talking and jaw japping. Dude, don't be that guy. Like if I understand, like, and if I got a bunch, right? Here's another thing I do. If I got a bunch, and like, let's say we're kicking it in line, right? This actually happened at the block party last week. So a bunch of friends was kicking in line, right? And for Brian Michael Bendis, so that he has a career where you could throw a whole brick at him, right? So it's Brian Michael Bendis in line, a bunch of friends, right? Everyone's talking. No one's asking each other the real questions, like, what are you getting signed? I always ask that question too, guys. If you're in line with motherfuckers, ask them what they're getting signed, okay? Because it might break your heart. They might be the long box Joe, okay? Because that's what happened at the Bendis last week. Everybody was kicking it. Now Bendis is there. Now everybody, the lines, everybody's attention on Bendis. Then dude goes, Hadouken, boom, right? With a whole brick, right? The whole
Here's everything you've ever published.
Got all the Ultimate Spider-Man, which is pretty much a short box, right? You throwing him the gauntlet, right? And dudes are like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that. You did us dirty. And you in front of us too? That's shady. So what I say is this. If we're all kicking in line, we're preparing, right? And all the cats that I'm talking to, I'll be like, what you got, right? And they got I have a significant amount more than them, like where they have to wait on me and look at me, right? Significantly, I'll be like, man, y'all cool, man. Y'all get in front of me. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. Like if I have a party of people that I'm with and I got way more books than y'all, I'm gonna go last. I'm gonna let the homies get theirs first because they got less than me. And then I'm gonna give them the elbow from the top rope. But if everybody kind of had a little consideration, that works. And I think that's the main point. And for the most part, the people that I met at various shows all around, they've all been cool. Pretty much. I mean, there's been times where the actual handlers had chaotic lines where we didn't know where we were lining up, and we policed ourselves and maintained order, and then they get mad because we have a line, and then they go, oh nope, and then whoever was at the end of the line, they make them at the front of the line. And it's like, even though the people at the front of the line was there first, but they just want to do the power. That's happened a lot where people are lined up, but we have an order to things. Because the natural order to a Comic-Con is what? First come, first serve. So if you put in the time, you get honored, and no one's going to be mad because you actually invested your time to be there first. So if there's no system, it's complete anarchy. Usually the comic book community, they default to first come, first serve, right? And then they form the line and they self-police the line. So if whoever, let's just say Common Sketch Art, right? If they see that there's already a line, right? And it's an honest line of people that been curating it for an hour and some change while you're off working doing your job. But we're lining up. They say, oh, there's no line. Bullshit. There is a line. Okay. If there's a gaggle of people, right? And they're waiting and there's no de facto line, it's going to create chaos. It's going to disturb the natural flow of people moving forward because they're just going to be huddled up in a big cluster. But if you have an actual line, right? So sometimes this be kind in line can go to like, you know, the handlers, right? Hey man, make sure, you know, even though I get it, Scott Snyder's popular, right? But he's gonna, because he's popular, people are gonna show up super early because they're trying to get out of that chaotic line. So what's gonna happen when you do that? You're gonna say, oh no, don't line up. Bullshit, we're gonna line up. And
I'm gonna line up then.
Exactly.
I'm gonna start a pre-line, which I've done before.
And then when they disrupt that, I'm saying this happened. And this happened in MegaCon this year, and there was no official waiting line, and there was no one at the booth, so it wasn't like there was a signing before that. So they actually could have had people line up. They're like, no line, and so like all these people, like eventually it was like 50 people, like waiting, you know. So we all were like, well, I was here for everybody, you know. We saw them all show up, and for them to break that up. And so for the people that were waiting the longest for them to have to go to the end of the line, that sucked. At the end of a Scott Snyder line at that, that's crazy. You know, so like be kind in line. But as it pertains to us, the Sig Slayers in line, hey man, don't be a jerk, dude. That's all we saying. Don't be that person where everybody's looking at you, they're staring you daggers down and stuff like that. That one's pretty straightforward. All right, this is the one where I want to cook on. Okay, and we talked about this already. Customer is always right, people. All right, if you're paying, okay, I will also say that if it's a long line, talk to people in line about their books. It makes, yeah, exactly. Yep. You talk about what they have, but I say the primary reason you're asking them why they got, you know, what they're bringing is to see how many books they got in their hand in comparison to yours. Like if you got more books than them, then you you might consider, let them go ahead of you. What up, Martin Ponce, bro? The worst for me was the lack of line control at Frank Miller's. Yeah, exactly. And so a Scott Snyder, Frank Miller line, they won't even be at the booth. Right, so they can actually have people line up and be ready for so when Frank comes, and they're like, nope, don't have nobody line up, right? And then there's these people, and then so what happens is what they want is on my command, line up, right? And then so all these people rush to this spot, elbow and kick each other to get to the spot on their cue, versus just having a queue, right? It really sucks, man. And so it's funny that Martin says this stuff because it's definitely an experience that I know people have experienced before that they don't talk about. You have to know about this type of stuff when you're going to these popular signings, guys. So like if you get into this Absolute Universe, which is popping right now, those people that are doing the Absolute Universe, their lines are long right now. They're popping. They're at the height of their popularity. I saw it at New York Comic Con. It's probably going to bleed into 2026. And so these people are largely repped by Comic Sketch Art, and if communicate is what I say. So I say the remedy is communicate. Hey, when is the line going to form? There's going to be a lot of people. Like it's going to suck if I've been here the whole time, and then you put me at the end of the line, and I've been communicating with. So I always do that. So I kind of time step. Hey man, what's up, man? I'm here for the Scott Snyder signing. Oh, well, there's no line. Okay, that's cool, but I'm here though. I'm just letting you know I'm over here though, right? I start seeing motherfuckers coming up. Hey, just let you know, hey man, you said there was no line, but I'm here. Hey, so when you start forming the line, I'm here though. I just keep doing that shit. I just keep pestering their ass because I ain't going nowhere. That's the whole point. You ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. And so if I ain't going nowhere, I'm just gonna keep making your life miserable until you form a freaking line. Okay. So if enough people did that shit, that's my point. If enough people pester them and say, hey man, I'm here, they're gonna be like, fuck, Jesus Christ, let's form a line. You know what I mean? So if you did that, but what is done for me at least is that when they did that, okay, on my command, start the line bullshit. Hey, you. Yeah, motherfucker. Yep, you saw me, right? Because hey, what does they say? The squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So you got to be able to communicate. Customer is always right. And what I mean by that is this. What's the difference between a fan and a customer in a signature line? A fan gets free SIGs. Okay? So if you are paying for a signature, you are no longer a fan anymore. You are a customer. Okay? And that's the cold, hard truth about today. Is that you are a customer. You are no longer a fan. And if they treat you like a fan with entitlement or whatever, you have to reset that dynamic and make it about you being the customer. And what do I mean by that? Okay. Number one, when I was saying earlier about controlling your books one by one, right? Don't let them dictate the flow of your books. All right. You got Frank Miller, right? You got a Frank Miller signature line, right? You got 4 books. You got all 4 issues of Dark Knight Returns, or you got all 4 issues of Year One, or you got like the first issue of Sin City and you know, a Daredevil issue. You got some heat, right? Don't give those to those people. No, I'm gonna hold these until I see Frank. Man, I'm paying $100 for these. I don't trust you, dog. If you fuck it up, what you gonna do for me?
You give him $100 back?
Not even that. What about the book you fucked up? Like the money is the easy part. The book is the hard part. So, hey man, take control of your situation. Hey, nah. Don't use that black marker. Use the gold. Hey, if you don't have your markers and you're paying for the signature, you get to choose what color they do, right? So if Frank Cho says, "Hey man, I like to use this blue marker. That's my thing." No, it ain't. Not if I'm paying your ass. I want a gold marker, sir. I want a gold marker goes nice on this cover. Matter of fact, I want it gold the whole time. I have a gold marker here. Use this shit for my $10. What the hell is wrong with these people? Hey, you're the customer. You're not a fan. A fan was back in the day. A fan is Brian Michael Bendis, George Perez, Doug Mankey, Libra Mayho, James Tynion IV. Those people have fans because they have free opportunities. Oh, I forgot the Todd father. Todd McFarlane is tier 0 unless every now and then they'll have a signing at New York where you can pay for him, or the CGC in-house signing. Okay, so Todd McFarlane is free, and the best people are free. See, when you're a 6'7" dude, like, hey man, get loud then and wear stilts. Time another fan liked my comic and wanted to buy it from me. He also upset when I said no. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of okay. Okay, that goes back to be kind in line, man. Don't be trying to buy people shit in line, man, unless they offer. Like, that's the worst. Like, they're trying to get your stuff before you get it blessed. Like,
or don't get pissed off if it's a no. Like, you asked, he said no. Okay, move on.
Right. But customers are always right. I can't stress that enough. So that applies to signature colors, signature placement, the handling of your books. Those 3 things is what I'm talking about the most. Especially when you're dealing with keys. If you got keys, a lot of things could happen. So let me explain. Okay. These are the things that can happen when you leave things to the fates and you're in fan mode, but you're really a customer and you're not exercising your right as a customer because you're in fan mode, right? So this is a Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee signing. This is me giving it to the handler. And guess what happened? Jim Lee signed. What a waste of a Jim Lee signature. This is Jim Lee on Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. That ain't no Ed McGuinness.
Did they apologize or Jim Lee apologize?
No. Because there's a lot of people that are kind of foolish where they ask Jim Lee to sign things that he's not a part of. So he doesn't know. I don't blame Jim Lee. I blame the person that took the books out of my hand. Right? So, exercise your right. You persist. I'm the customer. Don't fuck up my book. This is a classic book. It got Jeff Loeb on there, but look at this Jim Lee. Jim Lee does not belong in this. Jim Lee does not belong on this. But wait, there's more. I got Tony Daniel trying to be helpful, right? You see that? Y'all see that?
Oh, he gave it the old Hawk to a fix, or tried to.
Basically, he was like, "Oh, I'll help you rebag your books." I'm like, "No, man, I got it. No, I insist." And he put it in, and it was still wet, the smeared in the bag.
Did he apologize?
Oh yeah, he apologized. But guess what? And the signature was free. But guess what? The book is screwed. Okay. So look at this. This is because I let the artist rebag my book. Okay.
That's why I do it myself, because that way I'm mad at who? Me. I'm mad at me, not mad at whoever I'm trying to get.
But wait, there's more. Like I said, comic sketch art, taking my books. Look, I don't know if you noticed. Tell me when you see it. Tell me when you see it. Tell me when you see it, guys. Somebody say I see it.
It's hard to miss.
You guys, can you guys identify the problem? This is awful, okay? And I love this cover. I was just trying to get Capullo. And then they slid it. The double Sig, man. Absolutely right. Look at this, man. So this happened.
Did they apologize on that one?
No.
It's I keep asking because I already know the answer, but I just like hearing the no.
This is that same one. Same time, Tony Daniel. This is C2E2 last year. You can't really see it, but like right there in the middle, it's smeared. Right there in the middle, it's smeared. Trying to be helpful. Which cover was sick? Oh, you talking about the metal? Yeah, it's sick, but not with the double Sigs.
Now it's slick.
Oh my God. Yeah, this one hurt. Okay. I'm not done. So remember, I said you're the customer, guys. So I'm saying this. I'm saying this because you're the customer, right? Customer's always right. And I'm not done. I just want for the people that are just coming in, we're doing the signature commandments and we're going to review them. But the customer's always right. And I mean this as it pertains to handling the books. Okay? When you handle the books, you got to be in charge of them. Don't let them be in charge of them because this happens. Look, so Jock, and this happened on multiple times on the same book. He did a thumbprint. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But like he signed it and then had his thumb on the book. So when they sign it, you kind of put your hand so they can look at your hand, and then you take the book out of their field of view. Okay. It's kind of like playing defense, okay? So he did this not on one time, but you can see it way clearly on this one. You see that? See that smear?
Oh, good. Jeez, yeah.
So this is what happens when you're a fan and you don't think like a customer, okay? And look, dude, I got, I was going to get Snyder on until that happened. See that?
That's nuts.
But wait, there's more. It happened again. Different time. With Francavilla on it, dog. Dude,
some of those people aren't easy to get either.
I know, dog. Francisco Francavilla. And this made me like almost cry. So there. Oh, but wait. There's more. Remember this book I was talking about, Scott Snyder with the dry?
Yep.
And you know what? I tried to ignore it. Tony.
I can't either. Yeah, I can't. I
tried to ignore it, but I couldn't. But I moved on. And I was like, dude, I'm about to see Jim Lee. I was like, dude, I'm going to overlook it. And then Jim Lee did the unthinkable. He put his thumbprint on it. So this book is cursed, bro. Look at that. You got this dry-ass Sig here. And then he tried to sketch over it, and it just did not work. And then I have Jim Lee's thumbprint. He better not have no thumb security, or I'm getting in.
Talk about beating a dead horse,
Dude. This is like horse jerky right here, bro. This is crazy. Look at this, guys. This book is a disaster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times sign, but -2. So this is crazy. And so that's what I mean by we have to take control of our books. And the customer's always right. Okay. Got Jim Lee thumbprint here. And then you got, the dry marker that Scott Snyder tried to, trace over, and it just did not work out according to plan. But this here, that Jim Lee. Now think about this, man. And then I also showed you guys Todd McFarlane. This is my first Todd McFarlane signature. Okay, so imagine you're stepping up to bat, your first at bat with Todd McFarlane, and this is your result. How would you feel? Your first at bat with Todd McFarlane, and this is your result. I mean, on what level of frustration would you be, Tony?
Dude, I admit I would. I'd probably shed a tear. I'd be like, Papa Todd, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I mean, sounds like he didn't do anything wrong. His people did. Yeah,
the people, but that goes back to the paint markers. And then finally, guys, the last commandment is support thy predecessors. And what do I mean by that? Support the OGs. Okay.
Hit the bucket.
A lot of the signature game, when it comes to prices and paying for stuff, this is a modern phenomenon, right? A lot of the new jacks that that have been doing things over the last 7-8 years, they're the ones that kind of ushered in this stuff. But people like Pat Broderick and Joe Staten and Jerry Ordway, Bob Wyachek, Bob McLeod, Walter Simonson, Jim
Zeck.
Starlin, Mike Zeck, if he ever came back to America. You guys get my drift. These are the foundational artists now. They're the ones that kind of pass the baton to Jim Lee. These are the Jim Lee OGs, right? The generation before Jim Lee and Tom McFarlane, the people they looked up to, right? Neil Adams is gone. Stan Lee's gone, right? A lot of the Silver Age giants are no longer with us. And so now we're with the Bronze Age giants, right? And a lot of times they're not getting the work like they used to, or they can't get the work, right? They can't do interiors like they used to, or their style of cover art might not fit today's motif, right? And so it's a different era, and they may have not gotten the indie book where they could live off of that or whatever. So their situations are different. So if you see that Heroes Initiative bucket, guys, like to me, that's one of the most worthy causes in comics that you could support some of those old timers. And a lot of these guys did books that you're going to get signed anyway. If you're a Sig Slayer, you're getting these books, these key books that are signed by, that are done by Bob Wyachek and Bob McLeod, right? You're getting those books signed. Not everybody's going to fall in the Bill Sienkiewicz category, right? Or the Chris Claremont category, right? Or the Frank Miller category. There's people, that, in the era, like even Michael Golden, right? Even though, he charges, I think he's like tier 2, like 20 to 25 bucks. But people like Michael Golden, Arthur Adams, right? Give them their props. Or Klaus Janson is another one that are people that we should be supporting. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the one thing I do love about the comic book community is when you start getting deep into the collector sector, right? Collector sector, that's funny. When you start getting into that, people are historians, right? They start digging into those boxes and start learning about storylines and character evolution and the passing of the torch from one regime to the next and all of that stuff. And so what I like about this hobby and the people in it is a lot of them do pay respect, right? And they try to support, hit that Heroes Initiative. So if you see a Heroes Initiative, put something in there, because a lot of times they let you name the price, so which is great, but don't assume that it's free. Definitely support those guys. And we wanted to say that because a lot of the older generation are in the shows on the East Coast where Heroes Initiative is prevalent, or even in the Midwest. I mean, I've seen Heroes Initiative everywhere, but I'm saying where they have a bigger presence is, I've seen them at Baltimore. I know at Heroes Con they have a big presence. I've seen Heroes at Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City. So it's definitely a presence there. But then if you got keys and stuff, support them, and then also not just that, buy their books, if they have graphic novels and stuff like that, that can support them as well. We always got to pay it forward, because without them, we wouldn't have the absolute Batmans and all the variant covers and all the crap that we celebrate today. So, doing a quick recap. Honor thy books, guys. We're doing all the 10 commandments. Honor thy books. What that means is have your books stored, and how you transport them matters. I put mine in a Cheez-It box. Tony, you have yours. and what I like about yours is you can slip a piece of paper in to label your stuff. Me, I just write them on a Cheez-It box right there, the black Sharpie. But this I'm telling you, use it, man. I already showed you. This fit a comic just as snug as what Tony uses. It's great. And if you like Cheez-Its, you get 2 for 1, right?
Or you can put your kids on it.
Yeah, exactly. You can. It's great. So those things are awesome for organization. So basically, what we're saying is, if you're going to great lengths to pay for these signatures, make sure that your books are secure and ready to go. Choose markers wisely. I mean, from paint markers to putting black on a dark area, to Sharpies, to Sharpie Creatives, to Poscas. Like, choose your markers wisely. And to me, I always say the type of marker is relative to the amount of books you have. So if I have a ton of books, I tend to get more of those books done with the black marker, and I get more selective with the colors. But those are just tips that we're giving you guys. Choose your markers wisely. Have your comics ready to sign, man. And like this is when I start getting irate, and that means that you're sleeping behind the wheel. Have your books out if you have them, and the yellow slips that Tony uses, where it's already ready, and you can just open, boom, and then there's a protective layer where it doesn't smear the ink. Hey, great. If you're into glory holes, great. Get your X-Acto knife and cut out your glory hole.
Like that.
Get them done. Like, go ahead. Like, if you're into that, get your bagging board, X-Acto knife, and your painter's tape and all of that, and have arts and crafts. Great. Okay? But have them ready. Have them in your hand, ready to rock by the time you're at the table. Or if you're like me, where you just don't do anything, you just take the books out of the bagging board, have it ready to go, right? But then I also added that other layer of, I even have my books organized by marker color. So I have my stack of blacks. So boom, bang those out. Then, all right, and it's silver time. All right, bang out the silver. Give me a juicy silver. Boom, now we're doing gold. Where's that juicy gold? All right, this one here, I got one paint on, right? So, especially if you got a stack, right? Now, if you got a couple, then that's easy to kind of deduce. But I'm talking about if you're a Sig Slayer and you want quality with your quantity, right? So you're getting a shit ton of books signed, but you don't want them messed up and you want them to look proper, right? So if you want that, you have to have your books ready beforehand. The least prepared you are at that moment of contact, the higher the probability those books can get bastardized, like this Todd right here. So you definitely want to be prepared and have them all ready to rock. Know thy cost. Oh my God. They're not going to tell you on the website. Usually the people, the creators on the social media, they're not gonna say it when they say, hey, I'm going to be at New York Comic Con. By the way, I'm $10 a Sig. Oh, by the way, go get that ticket before the show or at the beginning of the show, or you ain't going to be able to get a Sig. They don't say all that. This is important information. It would dictate how many books you bring, and it would dictate whether or not they're even worth your time. Okay, so know thy cost. I gave a rule of thumb as it pertains to price. You got to have a certain level of your resume, right, for me to start paying for your Sig. So you got to I got to really like what you do. Or even worse, if you're charging $20 and up and you're a new jack in the game and you're charging the same amount as Jim Starlin or Marv Wolfman, and you don't got not even a fraction of their resume and you're on their price point, kick rocks, okay? So I'm going to just say that because you got to get your cake up, and I'm all about that. You got to pay your dues before you start getting to tier 2, which is in the $20 the $40 range, okay? If you and that tier 2 should be only there for the vets, the vets in the game where they're household names in the hobby. But in general, we should be knowing the price points of these creators because, like I said, it can impact your time. I've met people, I don't know if you've met people like this, Tony, where they've been to a Comic-Con for the first time and they're shocked and pissed that when they come meet that creator, that they find out that it's $10, at $10. They're like, what? I gotta pay money? Well, what
and
about?
Then I laugh because $10 is reasonable.
in our warped minds that we've been whipped and conditioned into accepting this, but for the people that are not informed, that you got to do your research. And if you see that social media post like Comic Sketch Art where they post their lineup for the show, be like, hey man, along with their lineup, put their price points so we can plan for the show. Don't you want to make money, right? And so it really could impact what you bring. So know the cost of the books, of the signatures. Pick a worthy location, right? You don't want dark ink on a dark spot. This also deals with, I say the customer portion of the signature game, where if you're paying for the signature, you're no longer a fan, you're a customer. And so that means you should be able to dictate the location of the signature. And it shouldn't even be a problem, right? It shouldn't even be a problem. Then the paint marker rule of 3, man. Basically what I'm saying, guys, is there's various types of paint markers. Like this one. What's the other one? Where's Bloody Daniel? I think this book is so afraid to even be seen that it's hiding from it. Where did it go? It's probably in this stack over here. Anyway, this suffice. This right here is a paint silver marker. And the more these take a long time to dry, and the more you have to babysit. And if it's a big line, then hey man, they're gonna want you to get out of line once you got your book signed, and then you're gonna have all these wet books. And so somebody could bump into you, create bastards, and smear books. So, paint marker rule, I say rule of 3. And this is what I do. I got 3 books, and I kind of stack them like this. While I leave the signature exposed, let them dry, and then I can move on. This is manageable, right? You start getting a stack like this. Oh, there's Bloody Daniel. This is unmanageable. Now you got too many in your hand, okay? So it's very important that when you're dealing with paint markers, that you have a limited amount so you can manage that dry factor, or as we say, you have a buddy system where you got somebody kind of babysitting them, taking them away, babysitting them in a safe place. But if you at San Diego Comic-Con and you in a long line and you got a stack of books, if that artist has a paint marker, take that shit out their hand and give them a Sharpie, because odds are one of your books are going to get screwed. That's all I'm saying. I get very nervous around paint markers. I get very, very anxious. And so I like them, but only if it's one book and then I can babysit it all day. You know, it's funny. I was watching a documentary of Bruce Campbell, and it was about signings. And you know, he had this quote. He was like, okay, so let that dry till tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because it was a paint marker. It was a fat signature, and it was like, dude, just let that marinate over there. Don't even think about doing anything to it. One book at a time, and this also mitigates the overstacking. This also deals with the customer aspect of the signing. Remember, if it's a free signing, you're a fan. If you get charged, you're a customer. Okay, so if you're a customer, you definitely want to dictate the pacing. Oh, here it is. Or you have a wagon. There goes SEG. Or you have a wagon. Yeah. So if you have a wagon, but dig this, SEG. There's certain shows where you can't even bring that. I don't think
shows out there that says you can't bring a wagon.
Yeah, for sure. Like what show I was at? Suitcases and Wagons. They were trying to bang on me last year at Planet Comic-Con. But their shows sometimes, maybe San Diego, you might not be able to bring it. But I doubt that. I got banged on last year for my suitcase at Planet Comic-Con last year, and they were like, "You gotta hold it." Yeah. See, I don't think Planet City wants. See, exactly. See, Planet Comic-Con. Yeah, they were banging on it, dude. So. And I'm talking about they followed me with the suitcase and everything. Like I was at Doug Mankey's table. They like really pressed the issue on it. So, not
I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me.
I think it had something to do with their escalators. They didn't want the escalators to get messed up. That's what they were telling me or whatever. But whatever. My point is you might not have all of your equipment. Every show is different. And so what we're trying to teach you are the things that can make you resilient in every situation, right? So rule of three, that you can do that at San Diego Comic-Con, right? One book at a time, you can do that at MegaCon, New York, San Diego, right? The smaller shows, the more wiggle room you have. The bigger the show, the more people, less free space, and it can be very frenetic, man. So we're just trying to prepare you because people have goals to go to San Diego one day. And they're like, man, I can't wait to, San Diego's my bucket list. And they be like, holy shit, man, all the people, they're not prepared for it. And so you can't attack San Diego the same way you will attack Fan Expo Philly or even Baltimore. Like San Diego is a different beast. And the last maybe 3 Stash Wars lives ago, I talked about the difference of New York Comic-Con and San Diego Comic-Con. And the difference is that New York is organized. San Diego is not. There could be your favorite artist could be there, and there would be no publication of it. And then you will be at one line, and you'll look over, and you'll see your favorite artist signing in another line. You're like, well, where the hell did he come from? San Diego's like that. So, like, if you can navigate San Diego Comic-Con, you pretty much, you got the golden key to all the shows. But one book at a time, control the flow of your books, because you don't want the handlers handling your books, and you can create disasters like this. That's what happened here. I gave the books to the handlers. That's not good. Be kind in line. Don't be that jerk with the VIP thinking that you own everything. Because you get in front of the line, you will get knocked out. You do that to me. So don't do it. Okay. Just practice good etiquette. Also, if you're chilling with a bunch of people, right? and you're waiting because you guys are camping out, ask them as a courtesy, hey man, what books you getting signed, right? And you just seeing, oh, okay. And then if you got more books than them, like buy a lot, like where it could jam shit up, those homies that you met in line, hey man, if you were there before, hey man, y'all can get in front of me, dude. I got a little bit of stack. You know, I got a little bit of stack here. Y'all go. And then people to look out for that. So, you know, you pay it forward. You do things that can help people out, and that'll come back around on you. And likewise, if you're addicted to people, the same thing. And so if you're you know, trying to do low people and pushing and shoving people where they got books in their hands so that you can run and get the Jim Lee line and the Tommy McFarlane line. If you're that kind of guy, I guarantee you, no one's gonna like you, and you're gonna have to pay for everything at the top. You're not gonna get hooked up with nothing. You're not gonna get no freebie anything. You're gonna get everything paid, and that's what you deserve because you're a jerk. So don't be that guy. Be the person that's promoting goodwill. You know, knowing about the people or the surroundings, and you might get educated too on some stuff. You might learn about something about the artist that you didn't know, and you might pick up something new. So I always say, speak to the people in line, know what they have, and adjust accordingly. 9, customers always right. I think this is the main point. If you are a fan at the show, that means you're getting the books free. You're a customer if you're paying. So that means marker choices, signature placement, the handling of your books. You have the right as the customer to tell them how you want your books handled, because what are they going to do for you if something goes wrong, if your book is damaged? All right.
Have you ever had someone deny your marker request?
Oh, yes. That happened to me last year.
It's happened to me a couple times.
Carl Story at Baltimore last year, and I met him for the first time. And he does a lot of inking with Georges Genti, and I forgot who else, but long time ink artist, and he did The Mandalorian. And so I bought those books, Rodney Barnes, Georges Genti, and I was going to get Carl Story, right? And so I was like, dude, keep it simple, do them black, like black works. And he was like, purple's my thing, man. And I'm like, I'm looking, and I'm like, bro, man,
on that kind of cover, purple.
He signs everything in purple, right? So that he said, purple's my thing. Look at my banner, and and I was like, yeah, man, but you got a paint marker though, bro. Like, I don't want you fucking up my books. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got all of them done. Georges Genti don't come around often, and I was like, your Call Story, I meet you for the first time. So if you fuck these books up, I'm gonna be disappointed. Don't worry, man. If we gotta let them dry, we'll see it. So he insisted, but I did not move. All the books were spaced, and I was like, because I had like maybe close to 20 books, because I had the cover A's and the cover B's, and so I was like, but he insisted, but I got a chance to dry. So like, he created the environment for me to let them dry, but that's not going to happen all the time. You know what I mean? Frank Cho insisted one time with the blue, and I said no, black and $10, and he was like, all right, cool.
I had I forget who it was. Anyway, I said I want to use this exact marker. They said no. And I was going to fight them, and they apologized. They're like, well, I don't want to get sick. No offense to you. How many people touched the marker? And I was like, that's a good point. But that's the only time I've ever had someone deny my marker.
Well, you know what?
It was Lee Weeks who denied me. Yep. Lee
Weeks. I had a bad experience with him last year. But what I also do is I have a little hand sanitizer, right? Here, man. Here. Or a little wet wipe here. If they want to play that germaphobe,
yeah.
Here. It's all sterilized now for you. But the main point is, customers always right. And if you're in comic sketch art line, Felix, what's the other one? Phoenix. What's the other one? Scott's Collectibles. You're a customer. You're not a fan. You're a customer. Okay. They're supposed to treat you like a fan, but the moment you guys exchange money, you are a customer. So handle your books. Make sure they don't screw them up, because, hey, man, the worst thing to do is having to buy that book again. And last but not least, support thy predecessors, man. Get an OG some bread at the Heroes Initiative booth.
Hit the bucket.
Yeah, hit the bucket. Support them. Know about them. Buy their graphic novels. Try to support their table. To me, it just shows the goodwill of the community. Especially if you got, like me, I'm a historian, so I'm always trying to get Bronze Age books signed, Copper Age books signed, and so whenever that happens, I try to make sure that the OGs are hooked up. So these are our 10 signature commandments. What are your thoughts on our list, man?
Honestly, we could have made the 20 or 15 commandments, and easily there's so many things to do and to think about when you're chasing a signature from your favorite writer or artist. But this could have been a whole TED talk. I could have done a whole TED talk on markers and placement for 45 minutes on this tangent. But yeah, follow these tips that we gave you, and you'll be just fine. This is a really good foundation. Trust me, I screwed up so many books. I don't even want to talk about it. Or as you call them, bastards. I got one here. Check this out.
Okay, yeah.
You name your bastard books. I call this one Hot Flash.
Hot Flash. Oh, was it the Garcia Lopez choppy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hate
looks
that.
Like hot garbage on the Flash. Hot Flash.
Oh yeah, that does look pretty rough, man. That looks pretty rough. I would like to know, guys, what's the most important commandment of this list? So if you look at this list right here, which one you feel is the most important, the most relevant to the Sig Slaying experience? You getting ready to go to a convention? Which one of these commandments here you're gravitating towards? Let us know in the chat if you hear. Honor thy books. I would say for me, is the customer's always right, because I have a whole stack of just bastards from people mishandling my books. So that one, to me, I didn't want to put it number one, but I wanted to kind of put it at the end to stress that point between a fan and a customer. And the industry has turned fans into perpetuating customers, right? So not only are you buying the comics, you're buying the SIGs, you're paying for the show, so everything has a price point, right? And so there's no more fanfare, I guess that's the appropriate term. There's no more of that anymore, where there's stuff for the fans. Now, DC might, or Marvel might, if you're at their booth, right, they might invite some people and they might have some stuff where you can get a couple free SIGs. They might give you a post or whatever. But that's like mainly reduced to New York and San Diego. The publishers aren't at every single convention. So we definitely want to know which one. Let us know in the chats which one of these commandments you feel resonates with you the most, or you feel is the most important.
Yeah, definitely let us know which one and why is it number 2.
Yes. Yes. And so as we wrap things up here, we was going over the tiers, that's, know thy cost, right? The tiers here. And Jim Lee, it says tier 3, but he was $70 at New York Comic Con. So actually he's going to be tier 4 now. And Frank Miller, which is tier 4, he's going to be tier 5. And then the freaking Liefeld is 150. Then I got to create a tier 6. I did not know that there was someone more expensive than Frank Miller. I find that, a very, very hard to believe. A pick-worthy location. Stan Lee locations. Yes, okay, that's a good one. Location does matter. I know you, Tony. You think about signature placement quite a bit. So that's great to know. Signature placement is up there for me. But then I wanted to do our announcements, and so I just want to let you guys know. Boom! If you haven't watched the Mark Silvestri interview,
oh man, that's awesome.
It's a good one, guys. This is a good one. It's up on the channel now. Check out our Mark Silvestri video, and I think we interviewed 3 image founders this year, and counting. So we're going to have some other image founders on the Sig Slayer station, but this is our latest image founder, Mark Silvestri, and he's talking about the Darkness, which returns December 10th. And then this week we had our episode of The Process with David Barron. This episode was pretty good, man. Especially if you're an aspiring comic book creator, you're self-published, and you want to know how to get your books distributed in all of the shops. That's what this episode of the process dealt with. And it featured, I want to say, comic book insiders, Adam Freeman, and he knows a lot about the comic book market and about distribution and all of that stuff. The process is very interesting because it unpacks things totally from a professional level. A lot of stuff was going over my head, but it was so interesting because Adam explained pretty much how we receive our comic books and what degree of difficulty is it for the Joe, the common person, the common mortal, to produce a comic book that's distributed to all the stores across the country. So check out my main man, David Barron, on The Process, man. And I'll tell you this man is working hard with some great guests. And so he's breaking down so many different elements of the comic book industry from the pro level. And a lot of these conversations haven't happened before. And he's bringing people at the forefront of these topics. And then this week, we have Scott Shaw, longtime cartoonist, co-founder of San Diego Comic-Con. So wow. This dude is grandfathered into Comic-Con lore. He was an underground cartoonist turned cartoon producer. So Muppet Babies and a bunch of other Ed Grimley, a bunch of stuff from the 80s, Sonic, and he also drew the first Sonic comics. So he's Sonic's grandfather in comics. And it's very funny what he says about the origin story of San Diego Comic-Con and the wild parties that they would have.
I can only imagine.
Yes. So you definitely want to check this out. Lots of cool animation stories. But you want to know how Comic-Con started from one of the co-founders of San Diego Comic-Con. Check this out. This is available now. And then I gave a shameless plug earlier. Join me on Whatnot next Saturday, November 22nd, 5 o'clock Eastern. We're doing a bat extravaganza. Hey, all the comics that I showed you tonight, minus the Bastards. I don't think I showed you all. I just showed you guys the Bastards. But all the comics that I showed tonight are going to be for sale. But if you guys see that Burbank Batman, hopefully I'll be auctioning that one off. Spread the word. All the people that want to get a Burbank Batman, you can duke it out with other people next Saturday. Okay? If anybody want that Burbank Batman, it's going to be auctioned off. But then also, this gorgeous Jim Lee. This will be available as well as other Jim Lees. Jason Sean Alexander. This whole set of Detective Comics signed by Jason Sean Alexander. This is available. This Jerome Opinion Batman 100. I have 2 copies of this. This awesome David Finch variant signed by Jock, Scott Snyder, David Barron, and it's remarked by David Finch right there. So Todd McFarlane signatures, man, you name it. The Batstravaganza. I mean, you see it right here on the graphic. Multiple Todd McFarlane's, Ultimate Batman, Absolute Batman issues, key ones you're looking for. Silver, Bronze Age, Neil Adams classic covers. So we got stuff from Bronze Age all the way down to modern. Check it out next Saturday on Whatnot. It's going to be crazy, man. I'm gonna be there for a while. I curated a entertaining lot of comics for you guys. Even I have slab comics, rare comics. I'm trying to get rid of my slabs because I don't want them. I think they're a curse in here. So if you want some rare slab comics that are Batman, if you're looking for Batman comics, the Batstravaganza on the Sig Slayers Whatnot station is going to be on and popping. You're going to dig it, guys. Tony, this was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Any last words, anything you want to promote, anything you want to say?
Yeah, check out my room tour for those of you who haven't. I was doing really well. I think it's got me like 20 new subscribers out of it, so it's doing well. I got a gigantic room and I finally showed it off, so check that out. In terms of long form content, I'll have anything coming out. I might be done for the year, but I'm still doing a lot of shorts just because they're quick and easy, and the algorithm loves them for some reason. But yeah, this is a great show. Like I said, this one could have easily gone well into the night.
Oh yes, man. Yeah,
any one of these, just pick one topic. We talked about the whole night.
Yes, it's a whole portal of stuff. But I want you guys, let us know while we still have a few more minutes, which one of these commandments is one that you feel is the most important. I'm curious to find out. Let us know in the comments section. Make sure you are like and subscribe to the Signature King on YouTube and the Sig Slayer station. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We'll be here next week. And also, we'll be here next week with SCG, the Southern Comic Geek. We're going to have a full panel. We're going to have 2 board members of the Comic Art Fans website and the Comic Art Live, or CAF Plus is called now, on YouTube. We'll have Kazra and Matt Tertulio joining us next Friday on Stash Wars Live, and we're going to talk a lot about art. They had a Comic Art Live. It's actually starting tomorrow, where people can exchange art and stuff. And then they have one of the newer popular conventions of the year, OAX, the Original Art Expo. That's going to be popping off at the beginning of next year, and so we're going to pick their brains about that. We might be rolling out, covering the event, and so wanted to get some of the organizers on Stash Wars Live. So check that out. If you're a fan of CAF Plus, Comic Art Fans, Comic Arts Live, we're going to have 2 essential board members that are on here. And we're going to be talking, and they're going to be having a Stash War with us. So, and these guys got heat. Okay. So if you want to see some awesome comic book art next week, check it out on Stash Wars Live. And then also, I don't have the graphic up because I haven't made it yet. On Sig Slayers next Thursday, Radiant Black's own Kyle Higgins will be joining us. So you'll be able to check that out, as well as his new Batman story that he's working on right now. And so that's going to be great. Lots of fun, exciting things. Be prepared to see a Frank Quietly interview. That's going to be coming up on Sig Slayers. A Pat Broderick coming up on Sig Slayers, as well as our Stash Awards we're going to be having soon. All of our highlights of 2025, as well as the long-awaited revelation of our Sig Slayer sketch cards and our membership program. We're going to talk about all of that in the upcoming weeks. But check us out throughout the week. We're going to have lots of uploads, Doug Mankey animations, as well as new interviews next week. Check us out. Subscribe to the Sig Slayer Station. We are out, guys. Where's it at? Peace.